Partisan politics are crippling America's response to the coronavirus pandemic. Chuck Schumer and Senate Democrats blocking a critical stimulus bill for a second time. It would provide over $1 trillion of relief to millions of workers and businesses directly impacted by the outbreak. It comes as America's Surgeon General warns that this is going to be a bad week for the country. Infections are soaring in America with over 40,000 cases and 500 dead. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell calling out Democrats for prioritizing their wish list instead of backing a clean stimulus bill. Here's just some of the back and forth.
It's time for Democrats to stop playing politics and step up to the plate. If the entire economy continues to crumble, here are some of the items on the Democratic wish list over which they choose to block this legislation last night. Tax credits for solar energy and wind energy. Provisions to force employers to give special new treatment to big labor. And listen to this, new emission standards for the airlines. Are you kidding me?
Maybe the majority leader thinks it's unfair to ask protections for workers. Those are not extraneous issues. That is a wish list for workers, nobody else.
And over in the House, Nancy Pelosi is introducing her own stimulus plan. And instead of focusing on immediate relief, Pelosi is attacking President Trump over Obamacare.
I'm calling on President Trump to abandon his lawsuit seeking to strike down the Affordable Care Act. Instead, the president should urge the 14 states who have refused to expand Medicaid to do so. Today, House Democrats are unveiling the Take Responsibility for Workers and Families Act, a bill that takes responsibility for the health, wages, and well-being of America's workers.
Okay, Mr. Gutfeld, I think everybody knows the relief package isn't going to be perfect. I'd like to see a little bit more money in there for workers, maybe twice as much for families. But I don't see anything wrong with having strings attached for, no stock buybacks, no bonuses. But for attaching strings to things like making sure there's more women on corporate boards or new Green New Deal issues, that's fine, but that's not what this is about.
There are two things. One, to your point, does it have to be perfect? We're not in a time of luxury where you can hone this package to an ideal thing. When a firefighter is facing a blaze, does he stop and go, hey, excuse me, is that mineral or tap water? No. He gets that hose and he points it at the fire. This package, this relief package, is the hose, the water that we need. But the bigger problem, though, is that I consider myself a layperson. I have no idea what's wrong with this bill. Ideological language obscures the truth so that the lay people cannot see what's going on. So it's like we need a visual model to show us what these bones of contention are. What are the absurdities and what aren't the absurdities? A chart, a graph, a doll, where you can say, this is where they disagree, this is where they don't. But instead, we just see how politics undermines everything. I mean, oddly, politics is the invisible virus that's going to beat us. It's not going to be the coronavirus, because if this keeps us from getting the stimulus or the relief package for the economy, then we're all screwed. So we are asked as Americans to sacrifice. We're told to stay in our homes and not go to work. Then they should do their effing job. They should stop playing this stupid game and match our sacrifice, or else they've forgotten us as citizens.
It is amazing, Juan, how the whole country can come together except politicians in Washington, D.C.
Well, in fairness to the politicians, Jesse, keep in mind this would be the third phase. They've already passed one bill that put more money into the federal government's health care response, all the federal agencies that deal with health care. And then secondly, pass some money to help with unemployment, to help with paid leave, and even in some cases to help people with their health care costs. So this is a step that's meant in terms of the larger economy. And in that regard, the key to my mind is that they should be very careful here, because what we want is to put more money in people's pockets, because consumer spending is the key to our economic recovery down the road. So
Agree.
You want people to be able to pay their bills, right?
I
so
agree.
If they're unemployed or whatever, that they don't stop paying their bills. Instead, what the Democrats see, and I just want to offer you that perspective, is they see like a $425 billion amount of money that's being given to the Federal Reserve that the incumbent administration, the Trump administration, the Federal Reserve, can decide who gets that money, who doesn't get that money. Congress would have very little or no oversight, and they're worried it just becomes what they're calling here a slush fund for big business. And they want to make sure that, unlike 2008, when a lot of people said afterwards, oh my gosh, this was too big to fail. We bailed out Wall Street again. You know, Joe Manchin today, the senator from West Virginia, he was on the floor arguing with Mitch McConnell, the Senate Majority Leader. He said, you know, we don't have masks in West Virginia. We don't have gowns. We don't have ventilators. That's what should be here rather than your focus on Wall Street.
Yeah, Dagan, I understand some criticism. You don't want a so-called bailout again, and it's not the fault of these industries. They didn't cause this recession. You're just kind of giving them liquidity so then they can keep employees instead of firing them, or give them access to capital in terms of loans so small businesses can stay afloat.
This isn't just Wall Street. This is far from it. These are the companies that all Americans work for. This is a large swath of the U.S. economy that has basically been put out of business overnight. They are suffering no fault of their own, just like individuals, just like the people who've been laid off, the millions of people who've been laid off. And to correct Juan, that $425 billion goes to the Treasury and acts as a backstop for lending at the Federal Reserve, which would total about $4 trillion. That's how you can leverage that amount of money. That's why this is critical. So while Congress is flailing and failing the American people and dithering and bickering, it's the nerds over at the Fed that stepped up today with a whatever it takes to rescue this economy. We are going all in to lending facilities to make sure corporations aren't insolvent. You know what happens if large corporations in this country are insolvent? We're talking about the Great Depression for the next decade. So leave it to the Federal Reserve. Oh, and by the way, just really quickly, the Fed is also planning to roll out a Main Street business lending program that will support lending to small and mid-sized businesses, but they need help from Congress to backstop that. So where are we? We're staring into the abyss because of those losers in Congress.
Yeah, and Dana, it looks like they had somewhat of a deal at some point over the weekend, and then Nancy Pelosi flies in from California and throws the whole thing kind of haywire. What do you think she was calculating here?
Well, I think it's a pretty stark situation when Mitch McConnell would probably rather be working with Harry Reid than Chuck Schumer at this moment, because, as you know, you might remember, they did not get along so well. But at least Harry Reid would not have been pushed around by the Speaker of the House.
Yeah.
If you think about what happened last weekend, Mitch McConnell took all sorts of ridiculous accusations of him not working through the weekend. The thing is, there wasn't a bill that the House had passed for them to work on over the weekend. And instead, what you have is them holding things up, making the stock market go down even further. And again, to Dagan's point, and the president said this from the beginning, this is not the fault of the workers. They did nothing wrong. These are not people that weren't paying their mortgages, or like with the Wall Street bank situation. This is nothing like that. And the country needs to step up big and fast, and it's not going to be perfect. Now, remember, with Wall Street, those banks paid back the money pretty quickly because the economy got back up and running. We need the economy to be back up and running quickly, and they need to do it big. I think that they'll probably get it done by midnight tonight.
Wow, that would be fantastic. Just in time for the market to open on Tuesday.
If they can, there might be a procedural reason that the Democrats might have screwed this up so much that they can't vote until Wednesday procedurally, but I know that they're trying to do it fast.
All right, well, we'll be covering it here and keeping you guys posted.